Hello, I'm Adrian, and today we'll be discussing a book written by Nick Cernicek and Alex Williams called Inventing the Future, Postcapitalism and a World Without Work. This book was published by Verso 2016. The book begins with a discussion of what the authors term folk politics. This term the authors use to describe and critique the modern political left. Though I initially found this term to be confused and a bit difficult to understand, eventually, through more reading, the authors cleared up my confusion. It became easier to understand this term, especially as a critique. They define folk politics as being the dominant method in which the political left operates in our modern political and social spheres. They claim that this style of folk politics has been the prominent mode of affecting change for the left for the past 3 or so decades. They define folk politics as direct action, local solutions, and horizontalism. We need to first unpack horizontalism a bit. Horizontalism is defined as a system of self-management, direct democracy, and autonomy. Horizontalism is a form of social power management used in movements like Occupy and many others around the world. The term horizontalism originally became used to define the social and political movements of Argentina around the beginning of the new millennium. These movements tend to be described as leaderless, and they make no demands, say the authors. Having this discussion of folk politics and the critique of how the left functions politically in our modern world at the beginning of this book, the reader becomes immediately aware that this book is much of a critique of the left as it is a critique of capitalism and neoliberalism. After the authors define folk politics and make a short critique of the left and the socio-political movements of the past 3 decades, they then turn their attention to a critique of capitalism and neoliberalism. While their critiques of capitalism aren't new or that profound, and you can find them other places, the short history and discussion of neoliberalism that they include makes for compelling reading. Neoliberalism was born out of a meeting of economists, philosophers, and historians in 1947. The economist F.A. Hayek was at the helm of this group they created, and at this meeting they created a plan to keep classical liberal thought alive post-World War II and into the future. Neoliberalism at its core is an economic ideology that has come to inform and shape almost every aspect of our current society. At the core of this economic policy is a belief that free market capitalism and classical liberal political policies are the keystone of a great civilization. The group that was born from this initial meeting is called the Mont Pelerin Society. This think tank and their mission to spread liberalism globally was immensely successful, and the authors of this book, using the neoliberal playbook, outline an idea for starting what they call the Mont Pelerin of the left. They propose this tactic of creating a Mont Pelerin of the left to help solidify and direct the actions of the political left. They hope to replace folk politics with a system of political directness that can help to implement large-scale and long-lasting policy change that will completely change the way in which we live in the world. After the authors finish with their respective critiques of folk politics, capitalism, and neoliberalism, they present an idea for the future. They envision a future where our current value models of work and success are eliminated and replaced. They'll be replaced by a value structure most suited to what they would like to see in the future. In this future, automation, strengthening political left, they can implement policies and practices that may say a reduction in the reliance on paid labor to be the primary economic force directing our lives, which will free us up to have more time to be creative and do fun things. I think that the audience of this book is exactly what we are, students. And other than that, the other readers that might be interested in this book are those who are interested in approaching socio-political issues from multiple angles. Though I feel this work is rather short on its history of neoliberalism, which can make some of its critiques feel confusing at times, it would be worthwhile to read some of F.A. Hayek's work and some other work in capitalism, some other critiques of capitalism, in order to more completely understand the perspective and the critiques that they have in this book. I think for the most profound message for me in this book is that we can choose to live in a different society. We can choose to have a future with actual discussions about what kind of society we would like to live in, which kind of society we would like to grow old in, which society we would like to see the next generation grow up into. And I think that anybody interested in the way in which our economic and political systems are structured at our current juncture would be interested in not only reading this book, but reading this book and recommending it to friends, and hopefully starting a larger discussion. So give the book a shot. It was a very fun read, and thank you.